or as Jimin says it, cute, sexy, lovely. Hey guys, what is up? My name is Kaylee. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're coming at you with yet another BTS related video. Jane over at It's Jane Lindsay, dear Jane, tagged me in this video. She created an original BTS book tag on Jin's birthday, which was December 4th, just this past week. Jane means so much to me because honestly, without her, I don't know if I'd ever, or maybe eventually, but she's the reason that like BTS was even on my radar. True story, like the only person I knew that ever really talked about BTS. And so when I saw that they had performed on SNL, I was like, you know what? I'm going to check it out and see what the fuss is about. And that was it for me. I literally watched their 2 SNL performances, and a couple weeks later I saw them live, and it's been a slippery slope since then. As you can see, I have a slight collection and everything, and I have Jane honestly at the core of it to thank. So thank you, Jane. I'm about to do the BTS book tag that she created, and let's just get into it. So question number 1 is Namjoon, our leader, and that is a book that has a beloved protagonist in it, and I would be remiss to not talk about Rin in the Poppy War. And the reason that Rin is my favorite protagonist is because she is so flawed and she has to learn on the go. This is a story about an assassin that starts from like basically a meth family, like a family that produces and sells meth, and she doesn't want that to be her life anymore. Plus she's adopted, they're not even her real parents. And the only way out is to either get married, which she doesn't want to do, or to study very hard and get into this school that teaches you to be an assassin. And then a war happens, and Rin just makes all these terrible mistakes and bad choices, but also she's a genuine person, and her feelings are so real, and the reaction she has to them are just so genuine, and I just love her. I love the series, and I can't wait to see what the final book in the trilogy does for us. Question number 2 is Jin, aka Worldwide Handsome, and the prompt is a book that made you laugh out loud. And I literally just finished this book this past weekend, and it is going to be one of my favorite books of all time, and that is Neanderthal Opens the Door to the Universe by Preston Norton. This book literally had me laughing out loud several times. It's a very dark book, so know that there are lots of trigger warnings for suicide and death of a loved one and depression and abuse and bullying. There's a ton of stuff, but it is told in such a hilarious way. From his real name is Cliff, who is called Neanderthal by the bullies at school. His perspective is just so sarcastic and funny, and the way that the story is written and the observations that Cliff makes is just so funny. I highly recommend it if you're looking for a book that is both hard-hitting but also incredibly hilarious. This is the one. Number 3 is Yoongi, What a Relief That We Are 7. And the prompt is, what is your favorite ensemble cast from a series or a book? And I can never choose between these two, and it's not an original answer from me because you've heard it before, but I will always sing the praises of these characters in both of these series, and that is The Diviners by Libba Bray and The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. These characters are my life, my heart, my soul. I think about them regularly. I can't wait to the conclusion of this and the continuation of the spin-off with Roden Lynch from this book, The Dream Thieves. I can't wait to see what Maggie does with them. These characters are so real, and their friendships are so important, and they're so individual and unique, and their needs and their wants and their reactions are so true to who they are. They're so well crafted, so well written. If you haven't read these series, get on it. And number 4 is J-Hope, Your Hope, My Hope, a book that brings you joy or makes you happy. And I feel like I don't read a lot of books that are like that, and the first one that came to mind is one that probably comes to mind for a lot of people in my generation, and that is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I've read this book at least a dozen times, and every single time it feels like coming home. What's better than that? Home is where the heart is. It makes me happy. Is it the best book that's ever been written in the world? No. Is it one of the most well-known books that's ever been written in the world? Yes, absolutely. And that's probably why it feels like coming home. So I have to go with Harry Potter. And next is Jimin, Cute, Sexy, Lovely. It's the prettiest book that you own. And it depends on my mood, what I think is the prettiest book I own, and I couldn't narrow it down from these two, and that is The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. This cover is one of my absolute favorites. It got reprinted, and I was lucky enough to get a copy at that point. And also Circe by Madeline Miller, one of my absolute favorites, my favorite of 2018, hands down. Just this, I love it. I love Greek mythology. I just love mythology. I love books about gods. It has nothing to do with the books though. It's supposed to be about the covers, and the covers are stunning. And number 6 is Te or Vante, and that is a book that you think is completely unique. And I actually really struggle with this. One of the, I guess it depends on what you define as unique, whether it's the plot or how it was written. And I kind of went with a little bit of both. And I went with the Illuminate files by Kristoff and Amie Kaufman, mostly because of how it's written. If you spent any time on BookTube, you know that this is a bunch of different formats. You even have like ways that you read. These are all words. Those aren't lines. It's just very fascinating. It is told dossier style, basically, but also, as you saw right there, there are things where you read throughout like the galaxy and circles and like little post-it notes on billboards, and it's just one of the most fascinating formatted books I've ever seen. I know that House of Leaves by Daniel, what's his name? Zaluski, something like that, is touted as one of the most uniquely formatted books, but I think that this even has that beat. So I go with Illuminate files. And number 7 is JK, Jungkook, that's Golden Maknae. And it's a book that is perfect in every way, which is so funny. Jane, good job. And I am gonna go with my most recent read that got the utmost 5 stars, and that is The Toll by Neal Shusterman. I feel like the way that Neal concluded this trilogy was just so well done, and I couldn't have seen it better myself. And I left it thinking like, that was the right way to do it. I know not everyone believes that, but in my opinion, this was an incredibly good conclusion to a very good trilogy. And then we have the prompt for Army, and it's a book that made you feel closer to a booktuber or the bookish community. And I actually really did struggle with this one too, but I went with The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This was a book that, honestly, the first booktuber I ever watched was Chelsea, and we became friends. Actually, we were friends before I watched her booktube. Isn't that funny? So when she fell in love with The Hating Game, and so did the rest of booktube, I had to pick it up, and I read it. Man, I read probably a good 2/3 of it in one night because I couldn't put it down, and I've reread it and still loved it. And I feel like anybody who also watches Chelsea's channel has probably read it, so that's the closest probably that I could get to saying that a book itself made me feel closer to the community as a whole. And then there are bonus questions. The first bonus question, number 9, is The Vocal Line, a book that made you incredibly emotional. And this is a no-brainer, but that's Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This is a story about a kid dealing with the trauma that is his mother dying of cancer and how he copes with it. Obviously, the topic alone will tell you why it was emotional to me, especially as someone with children. I never want to have that kind of situation happen in my life. Fingers crossed. I hope it never happens to anybody that I love or know, and or you. But this book really, really hit me, and I probably cried on and off for like an hour after that, which is a lot for me. Number 10 is Rapline, a book that lived up to the hype. And I did get my hands on an arc of this, so I was probably part of the mini hype. I say mini not because the hype was mini, but because I'm mini. And that is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I absolutely loved this book. I buddy read it at the time with Brianna over at Coffee Books and Bullet Journals, and we had a great time reading this. This is a contemporary queer love story about the president's son of the United States and the Prince of Wales, I believe. And it's just such a cute and funny and engaging story with a little bit of an undertone of politics, and absolute 5 stars, no-brainers. I picked it up from this month's Book of the Month Club because it's the first time they offered it, and in hardcover. Previously, it's only been published in paperback form. I love this. If you haven't read it, but it's on your TBR, bump that shit up. Number 11 is Young Line, and that is the backlist title that is on your TBR. And I have talked about this book so much this month, but that is Archenemies by Marissa Meyer. Hopefully, shortly, I will get this done. This is a book I've had in my possession since November of 2018 and just have not gotten to. And now that it is December 2019, I absolutely must. This is the sequel to Renegades by Marissa Meyer, a story about people with superpowers, and the two different lines of that, those that are like the police slash government of the world, and those that are the anarchists that are against that, and how they fight. First synopsis ever. Can't wait to get to this. It will be coming soon. And last but not least, the Machne line, which is the babies. And that is an upcoming release that I'm most anticipating. And I have 2 books pre-ordered that are in the new year. And one is the new Sarah J. Maas book, but I can't say that I'm most excited about that because I'm not. I'm most excited about King of Crows by Libba Bray, the end of the Diviner series. Are we shocked? We're not shocked. I cannot wait to see what happens to our cast of characters, to people that I find incredibly important. I'm also very, very scared of how it ends, but February cannot come fast enough. I need this book in my hands. I will read it the day it comes out. Not all of it. It's going to be long, I'm sure. But it's a priority. It'll be the best book of the year. Guaranteed, hands down, don't care. That's it. Most anticipated release coming up soon. Thank you again, Jane, for tagging me in this tag that you created. Really highly appreciated. This is so unique and original and fun, and I hope you guys liked it too. If you are watching this and you are a BTS fan and you were not tagged, but you want to do this, please go ahead and do it. I would love to watch it. Let me know if you do go ahead and do it so I can see the video. Anything BTS related, I will watch. You know that. All right, that's it for me, guys. Thanks for watching. Like if you like this video, subscribe if you are new here and would like to see more content from me. I post all my social media links down below. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one, guys.